Hey guys, per usual, everything on this channel is for educational purposes only and is not intended as financial advice. So you'll notice I have a webcam image today, and will do so for the foreseeable future. Shout out to Bitcoin Aerolog John for sending me a webcam. Check out his interview with Vinny Lingham about SegWit 2x. I'll link that in the description below. Bitcoin's been on a tear. Big announcement this week was that the Chicago Mercantile Exchange has launched a Bitcoin futures product. Pretty huge. Institutional buying, mainstream acceptance, inevitability. Let's get to some charts. So I've talked about this one before, but it's the quarterly seesaw, basically. You can see from 2015, it's followed this pattern. So if you believe in time patterns or not, if you believe in equinox, astrology, whatever or not, I don't care. The point is, I'm seeing this as a pattern, so I expect it to continue until it doesn't continue. The turn is your friend until the end. So we've hit a bottom in September. The top is projected for December. We are in the beginning of November. We'll see what happens, but this basically says we have a ways to go and can easily bust through 10K, 15K. There's no top on this. It will continue. The only thing that will disrupt this is continued FUD events, which are necessary for the continuation of the rally. Otherwise, it goes too fast and just crashes. So things like Mike Hearn, a key Bitcoin developer, leaving, Bitfinex hack, PBOC, ETF, SegWit, 2x, Bcash, Bitcoin Unlimited, more SegWit 2x, Bcash stuff. This was more of a technical pullback, I think. I don't think there's any impetus for this. This might have been more SegWit 2x nonsense. But again, we're having FUD, we're having SegWit 2x. This could destroy Bitcoin. You know, the biggest FUD maybe I've ever seen because it affects the protocol. I've said all along, if it doesn't affect the protocol, it doesn't matter. This is going to affect the protocol. It's a big deal if it goes through. The game theory on what will happen, the options are massive, so I'm not really going to go into all of it, but it's important to pay attention to the hash rate. That's going to be the key. Where the miners point their hash rate after the fork. Do they point it towards SegWit 2x? Do they point it towards the core chain, legacy chain, whatever you want to call it, SegWit 1x chain? If mining is split greatly, you're going to have slowed block times. It's probably 30 minutes or more, which will backlog the network and, you know, fit narratives of people who are anti-SegWit, anti-core, like the Bcash people. So watch for that. The difficulty adjustment is before the hard fork, and so is the Bcash EDA removal hard fork, emergency difficulty adjustment. So SegWit 2x fork will be positioned after the quote Bcash fix for their chain. So lots of stuff going on, lots of moving parts. I think in January, December, all this will be over, like everything else that I mentioned on this whole way up. But, you know, until we pass that, this is one of the bigger FUD events. It's because it's known and because the options vary greatly. It's also, as many people have said, not clear to me why there are so few people pushing it so hard, what the incentive is for that. All right, so that's that chart. Let's look at the pitchfork. Now, this pitchfork probably makes the most sense to me out of any of them that I've posted up until this point, mainly because it starts basically when things went bonkers, somewhere right after January, right after the PBOC China nonsense. And it takes into account one of the more recent high lows. Now, you can draw pitchforks all the way up this anywhere you want. Doesn't really matter. But you're looking for fit, and this fits pretty well. Resistance, resistance, consolidation, resistance, resistance, bounce, breakthrough, bounce, bounce, breakthrough, resistance, resistance, support, support. Something's going on now, we'll see. But the next target is clearly somewhere up in here and or the median line. So what we may see, and what I'm kind of expecting, is one of these touch the top and then touch the bottom. Now we saw that in pitchforks down here and here. It's not shown, but we basically went from this quartile to this quartile in like 3-4 days. 1, 2. This was within a week. So I'd expect that if things are going to go bad in some way, I don't know how, but in some way, that's what I would look for, is this quartile to this quartile. So we're talking below 5K, certainly possible. I have 10K listed on here just because it's my target. It's a even number psychological resistance, huge milestone, just like 1K, 5K, 10K, somewhere around November 29th. We'll see. Can certainly hit before that pullback, but I'll be closely watching for this heavy pullback just based on the pitchfork, not anything else. So a lot of people asking me, is this the top? How do you know? Where is this going? Alts are back. What's going on? Please, my bag, sir. So, what am I looking for when I'm looking at a price reversal? Look at what's happened on previous reversals. That's the best you can do. Use the left side of the chart to help you predict the right side of the chart. Let's look at the Mt. Gox Willie top here. This is Heikin-Ashi, okay? Tweezer top here. Wicks nearly touching. Second wick did not surpass the first. That was a sign. There's also an M here, better shown on candles. That was a sign. Another wick. That was a sign. Another wick. That was a sign. Another tweezer top. That was a sign. Wick. This was less obvious. Lots of wicks up here. I'm also noticing this spinning top type candle, which signals a loss in momentum. So for the most part, you're either getting wicks, tweezer tops, or a spinning top type candle where the wicks are essentially even on both sides of the body of the candle. Do we have any of that now? Not really. We have a wick building, certainly. Way too early to tell. And if you're wondering, where's the top of the trend? The ultimate top. I want to short the top, Josh. Please, sir, tell me. So this is what you got to look for. This is Wyckoff ABC type stuff, okay? Here's accumulation, textbook. You will not see it better than you did in 2015. I didn't know that then. I know it now. Accumulation looks like this. Distribution will be the opposite of that. Accumulation means people are buying. Distribution means people are selling. So what you're looking for, you can flip this chart. You can do 1 over BTC USD if you want to flip it to see what that looks like. But you can see you have multiple support tests that hold and a final support that digs a little deeper and shoots off. That's called the spring in this case. So we had, a clear line in the sand, support resistance that broke, was retested, and went from there. That's what you'd be looking for here, except the exact opposite. So up here, you'd be looking for several resistance failures, and then finally a break of support. Breaking the ice is what they call it up here. Do we have any of that now? No. Up, up, up is the only direction right now. So short this at your own peril. We've seen million contract shorts get wrecked. It's a beautiful thing. Absolutely beautiful. Here's daily. Again, what am I looking for in pullbacks? Wicks, loss of momentum. Here was a great spinning top. Loss of momentum. You're seeing any of that now? No. No, nothing red at all up in here. This was the closest we got. There was certainly some risk of that. There was some risk of that on the cloud, some edge-to-edge stuff, some TK disequilibrium stuff. If we look at RSI with that, we had building bear divs this whole time on these fractals. Do we have that yet here? No. So, look at the chart, look at the past, look what's happening now. Don't look at the number. The number is the least important to me, okay? People say price is king, blah, blah, blah. Price pays. Great, but it's going to seem ridiculous, because it is, but that's not the point. You're looking for weaknesses in the trend, okay? You're not going to see that in a number. You're going to say, oh, it's at 7,000, that's insanity. But it is what it is. So let's go to the weekly cloud, illustrate some of this strength in this a little bit more. The general idea of a big trend, a small trend, intraday trend, any sort of, I call it diagnosing a trend just because of my background in medicine and biology. But what I'm seeing here on the cloud, this illustrates it nicely, is the speed at which the trend is moving. So you can see in the beginning, the bottom of this, it was sort of gentle. And as we're going here, the stairs on this are getting higher and higher, faster and faster. The landing on the staircase, if you will, isn't quite there shortly. So what we'll see is just completely parabolic. It'll start to blow out the cloud like it did here. This is, when you see this, again, look at the left side of the chart to help you with the right side of the chart. That's when you know things are in trouble. this was euphoria manipulation. It doesn't matter. This went from 2 digits to 4 digits. Okay, we could go from 4 digits to 6 digits. There's no way of knowing. But look for this cloud fractal on the weekly. And again, on the daily, it took a hack of Bitfinex to even get us with a bearish cloud. So we're in no threat at all of ending the trend. There's certainly some concern for pullback on low time frames. So this is a 4-hour. And you can see every 4-hour Kumo breakout has just been complete money. Kumo breakout here, 4-hour, huge trend. Kumo breakout here, huge trend. Kumo test re-breakout here, again, huge trend. So if you don't know the cloud, it's a good time to learn. Kumo breakout is one of the key trades. If we zoom in a little bit, you can see we dipped into the cloud, went back out of the cloud. It basically says we're testing support. Support holds, and we keep going. So aggressive entries are here if you're a non-believer in the cloud, and then any laggards would enter at the all-time high break. That's the safest, at least the way I see it. And as far as support right now, 6,300 just based on the Kijun on the 4-hour mean reversion type stuff, but we're looking pretty strong still after this nice range expansion wick a few hours ago to the 7,400 all-time high. A lot of talk about fibs. Best thing you can do is look for a high-low, extreme high-low, and just fib it out. What do you see? So like we said from here, this 1618 seemed ridiculous at the time to a lot of people. We were at 3K and we hit it. Great. Let's do it again. We have a high-low. This isn't the best example of what to fib and why and where, but we have a high-low. This is where the trend started-ish. You could move it up here depending on what you want to look at, what your time frames. You can curve fit this if you want. I just like these numbers on the fibs, 272618. So we have 7,800, 8,400. Those are the targets. You have no way of knowing, because of price discovery, where this is going. There's no resistance up here other than buyers and sellers coming to an equilibrium and then something happening one way or the other, tipping it. So here's a popular chart that was being tossed around, fibbing from here to here, and then I just highlighted the 618 fibs. They seemed pretty accurate on the way up, so 7,800, good pit stop should this keep going. It's probably going to be like 7,800, 6,800. Again, looking for that pitchfork quartile to quartile in a week sort of pullback, just heavy pullback. Another thing you can see when you're looking at the speed of the trend, you can see how many days things pulled back and then kept going. So this was like a week. This was less than a week. This was like 2 days. And then it's just going to be, euphoria wick to 15K, whatever it is, probably 10K, but it could be much higher. Here's just how that looks on log. So this was linear. This was log, 7,800. And then chart from November, well, this wasn't November 2nd. This was like September 31st. You can see we clearly hit this falling wedge target based on measured moves and fibs. But what I wanted to show is that it's important even to leave those on your chart, those fib extensions from previous moves on low time frames especially, because you can see that it illustrates a resistance between 7,150, 7,200. That's where we pulled back. So is this a coincidence? Maybe, but I would leave it on the chart. Another example of that, this is a Bcash chart. I know, how dare I, BCHUSD. You have an old Adam and Eve that never came to fruition. And now you have a current cup and handle breaking out, and it's showing a previous resistance between 550 and 600. It's currently kind of the zone it's in, but this is the cup and handle projection somewhere around 700. Alright, so that's all I have for today. Like, comment, dislike, share, subscribe, hit me on Twitter, Telegram. Happy trading.